Hello, welcome to the McDonald's sessions. Today I'm here with Laura. We're going to talk about her running, and we'll probably get some talk about your Pugs too, so we'll have to slide that in there. Hello, welcome to the McDonald's sessions. Today I'm with Laura, and if you can't tell, it's St. Patrick's Day, so whenever you're watching this, it'll be way past that. Hopefully we won't make it to Easter or something, but so we have had a fun morning already. We had someone that locked our keys in their car, and we were trying to help her, and eventually she just gave up and walked home, so that was kind of an interesting way to start this. So let's talk about your experience in running. Let's go back to high school. Did you do track or any sports in high school?
Not in high school. I ran track in middle school.
Okay.
But I wanted to be fast like all my friends, so I could never make the team after 7th grade.
Okay.
But I ran the mile in 7th grade and stuff. But I ran on my own.
Okay. So you ran on your own in high school?
Yeah.
Like, what made you want to do that?
Because I wanted to run, and I eventually figured out how to do distance, and we had 3 tracks available to run on, and so I would just go up and run on the tracks, and it was just what I did.
So did you have a running partner, or did you run by yourself, or like, how did that actually?
I had some friends. We all figured out, we weren't going to be fast like some of our other friends. So, and we didn't really have cross country. We just had just regular track. So there wasn't really anything for us to be able to.
Okay.
And otherwise, though, no. I hated PE. I would always try to get out of any sport that I could. No.
Did you stumble on any 5Ks during that time? Because since you're already running, you could have thought maybe I'll do a Thanksgiving run or something like that.
No, unfortunately, it's well before the internet, so I wouldn't have known where.
Well, you could be running and see like a sign or something. I mean, it's like, old school where they actually did advertising on a telephone pole or something.
Well, like I said, mainly I ran on the tracks.
Yeah.
We had 3 colleges and they had tracks, so you could go run on those anytime.
So do you ever run on the track now? Do you miss that?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I think I'd go crazy having to run in circles now.
I talked to Sydney once, and I told her I had this dream that we ran a 50K on a track. Like, I've seen internet videos where people run those ultras on the track, and I thought that would be interesting. I don't know if it would be fun at all, but it would be really easy to have an aid station and everything like that. So I just thought it would be interesting to run. What would be 50K? 30 times 4, so 120 laps around a track would be around a 50K. So, I run on the track every once in a while, probably once every 2 or 3 weeks, and it is boring.
Yeah.
I really hate it. I try to do it in the morning before even the sun comes out. It seems like it's a little more fun than, which doesn't make any sense, but I do like that. So did you run after school? Is that?
Usually, yeah. We ran after school because, it was the 80s, late 80s, so we had to have that big heavy metal hair. So we couldn't mess up our hair before school because that took enough work on its own.
So the bad thing about then, too, is you couldn't just, bring your phone and bring headphones. So you didn't have any music, you just had to.
You just kind of had nature.
Yeah. Those were the bad old days.
Or you could have had a big, huge Walkman, but I don't think that would feel good hitting you.
Yeah, because you didn't have wireless headphones.
Yeah.
You'd have that wire coming down. You'd probably have a cassette tape in there.
Wait, I got to stop and turn it over. Hang on.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Actually, I think I had a Walkman that would turn over, would automatically turn over. So I like that a lot. Okay, the saga of the person locking their keys in their car continues. Her husband just called. It's so I got a call from this number. It was kind of hard to explain who I was.
Yeah. Where Just the random people at McDonald's.
Yeah, we were the nice people that let her use the phone. I think her car's still out there, so hopefully she's close. It is super. If again you're watching this in the future, it's super cold today. Like it was really nice yesterday, and then today all of a sudden is
Winter.
yeah, it's terrible. And the St. Patrick's Day race tomorrow is going to be cold too, so not looking forward to that.
Nope.
Okay, so you got your running in high school. So what did you do after high school? Did you keep running or?
I kept running until I moved out of my hometown.
Okay.
And then I wasn't living where I knew where I could really run, where were there any tracks or anything, so I kind of stopped running then. And I didn't pick it up until about a little over 10 years ago.
Okay.
I was just looking for something new. I was doing business personal property taxes at the time, and we were going into tax season, and I just was like, okay, I need something, like another good stress reliever.
Yeah.
So I picked up running again.
So what made you choose that? Did you think it was going to be nice and cheap, or?
Just because I knew I loved running, so
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then I decided Wayside Waves, Strut With Your Mutt was my first like 5K I did.
Yeah.
And then I started looking more and more, and then I did a New Year's Day race, and I got the runner's high hit again.
Yeah.
And then it was just contagious, and I went home and started looking up more races, and I did like Battle of the Bean next, and
Yeah.
it just kind of grew from there.
Yeah. So you started with 5Ks,
Yes.
and did you like how did you feel at the beginning of that? Was it scary, or were you like kind of didn't know it was happening, so you're just kind of like, this is fun, or how did that go?
It depended. Some races were good, some races were bad. And I have asthma, so I had to deal with that sometimes, and just having to work through that. But for the longest time, I was like, okay, I'm only doing 5Ks. That's it.
Okay.
And then, I decided, oh, okay, well, I'm going to move up to 10Ks. But
Yeah.
I thought I was going to puke signing up for the Plaza 10K the first time. Like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah. It seems so, I mean, it is far, but I remember when I was first started running 10Ks, I signed up for the, is it the Heartland 30K? I don't know, whatever it's called,
Yeah.
those three, and I was like, I'm going to run a 10K on 3 consecutive Sundays? That sounds so crazy. Now, like, it sounds like nothing.
Yeah, now it's like, oh, it's just a 10K.
Yeah, that's
People
really,
roll their eyes at us, really.
whenever you say just in
Yeah.
front of like pretty much anything, I keep trying to get my kids to run a half marathon, and I'm just like, it's just 13 miles. I mean, it's it's easy. I mean, that's not easy, but it's still like doable. It seems like it's so doable if you like.
The last weekend, I was just like, I only did 12, and the little girl at Meal of the Madness, she was like, 12, that's a lot.
Yeah, we kind of just like we were gonna do 2 laps, and then we took that. When you go across the road, we went straight. So we went to that extra part and then got around half marathon for that. So that was fun. So, like at first, how did you decide what races to do? Did you go by location, medal, T-shirt?
First, it was probably
Time?
location, and then after that, it was, oh, hey, at that time, I wasn't even thinking, oh, medals or T-shirts and stuff. It was just location, and then sometimes I would look and see, like, oh, hey, I like this charity. I'll run it, and then the medal collection started, and
Yeah. So did you start training more then, or what changed between the 5K and 10K? Did you kind of stay the same? Were you just still?
I kind of stayed the same then, and then some reason I was doing the 5K at the Kansas City Marathon, and I was at the packet pickup, and that voice in my head went off, you should do a half. And I tried to ignore it, but it just kind of kept staying, so it was like, okay. So I started, researching half training programs, and then I signed up for Running with the Cows.
Okay.
And so it was like, okay, you're gonna do this.
Yeah.
So then, just had to start getting that past the 6 miles.
Yeah. That's hard too, because like did you run that distance before the race, or did you kind of, is your usually training plans go around 10, I think.
I think I went 12 because I wanted to make sure I was like, if I have to, I can crawl that last mile if it comes down to it. And so I worked in a couple extra miles. So
I think there's a wall in every distance. Like for the half, it's around 10.
yeah,
The marathon is probably 20, and then a 50K, it's probably the marathon.
yeah,
So it doesn't even matter the distance. I can, even probably tomorrow, at a 5K, I'll just be like, I don't know, whatever distance I'm running, I'm always like kind of out of it at the end. So your first, well, let's go back to the 10K. So once you ran that first 10K, you ran the Plaza 10K.
Mm-hmm.
Did you look for more 10Ks after that? Did that seem like a good distance, or did that seem super far for you?
it seemed like a good distance. The next one I did after that, I went to Disneyland and ran the Star Wars races.
I did that.
And I did the first year they did. That's the only time I've done it, but I was like, okay. And then after that, I think I mixed some 10Ks in for that year with running.
So did you feel like once you did the 10K, was that kind of the hook where you're like, I'm actually going to be doing this now? Or
I think so, yeah. It was like, okay, I can do more than 3 miles. I can do this. I'm not dying.
So before we go into more running, let's talk about the strut with your mutt. So you have 2 pugs.
Yes.
Crew and Lola.
Rosie.
I
had a Lola at one point.
Okay. So they're not the best running dogs. If you've ever had pugs, they could probably take a couple laps around McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
But they have, like, they're bred poorly to do any like long distance.
Yeah.
So do you ever take them? I've seen a lot of people with strollers with dogs, like a pug kind of breed. Do you have a dog stroller, or have you ever done anything like that?
No, I haven't done that. Rosie will be 10 this year, and she's a pug mix, so she's got like super short legs. So maybe as she gets older, I may have to invest in a stroller to get her around more.
Yeah.
But right now she's very mobile. I mean, they both play every night. Being 10 years old, she's still feisty.
Yeah, but they don't ever go on.
No, like I said, I've only taken Crew once. KC Running Company had a dog run just up at the store, so I took him, and we went the shorter distance. But
Yeah, most races, I don't know if people know this, but you're not supposed to bring your dog. I thought you could, and I talked to Brad, and he's like, no, you're not supposed to unless it specifically says you can. So people that have dogs at races are technically breaking the rules, but I think it's like a stroller. If you stay out of the way, because that's what they're worried about, is people tripping on the leash. But
I mean, there's plenty of dog races in the fall anyway.
Yeah, I did. I can't remember what it is, but it was over in Olathe Frontier Park. We had both our Goldens.
I remember seeing you there. Yeah.
Yeah, we had both our Goldens there for that, and it was fun.
Well, that one of the arrows got knocked down or not put out, and so some of us went the wrong way.
I went the wrong way, and I kind of knew I was going the wrong way, but since I have my dog, I was like fine with it, because I knew I was just like, I'm just going to run out and then go back. Yeah. But I think like Alex, I'm pretty sure it was Alex, got lost on that same course in another race, because it looks kind of like you should go straight, but you're definitely
supposed to turn, but they didn't have something until all of us were going one way, and then it was like, wait, this isn't the way.
And people that run that trail all the time, because I've talked to people like, you should run Indian Creek, and they've said they didn't know where to go there, and that's why it's not really marked well, even for just regular racing. Like Gobbler Grind is on that. There's some other stuff, but that's where I run all the time. So I knew I run
the part of it I work in Corporate Woods, so I know a good 3 mile loop. So if I need just 3 miles, sometimes I'll go up there. I just moved, so I'm gonna have to learn. I saw where I can get on a trail somewhere, so I've got to figure out where I can go hop on the trails around where I live now.
Yeah, I will start normally at 119th and Quivira, which is right around here, like what, that way?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll start there at the Jimmy John's and run on Indian Creek. So I might do that Saturday or Sunday. So talk about your pugs. Like, how did you get into pugs? Is that like Do you want that specific breed for the rest of your life? I mean, I kind of feel like I always want to have a pug.
I feel like I need to have at least one. I wanted a bulldog, and when I was researching them, I saw how expensive they were, but why they were. So I kind of started looking for others, and I came across the pug and fell in love with them. And I got my first pug in 2010.
Yeah.
She unfortunately got cancer and passed away at 18, and then I got Crew at the very end of 18. He was a 6-month-old puppy that was released by the breeder. I adopted, don't shop. And so I've had him since he was 6 months, and he will be 5 this summer. And then last year, after our other pug, Isabella, passed away at 16, we got Rosie. Like I said, she's a pug mix.
Yeah, pugs are really fun. Like, what do you like about them?
I think they're just because they're the class clowns, and they're always making me laugh.
Yeah, they're definitely entertaining, and
Oh yeah.
they really are people dogs. Not pretty much every dog I think is kind of a people dog, but they're even worse. Like you can't walk away in a room without them following you.
Yes.
And
I call them my personal stalkers.
Yeah, they're always interested in what you're doing, what you're eating.
Oh yes.
And there's just certain other dogs do have sounds, but pugs just have like a pug sound. My grandparents had pugs my whole life, so that's the reason I wanted a pug. So I really like.
I know they're alive when they're sleeping because they snore.
Yeah, they're very loud and they're snoring and they're very. I don't know, but they're just very fun to have around. They're just.
Yeah.
I don't know, and they're high maintenance and low maintenance at the same time because they do just kind of hang out with you. You don't have to really. I mean, they do get into trouble, but it's not crazy. So they can't do too much because they can't get up on the table without a lot of help. I mean, I guess if you have chairs and stuff, but
they can figure out. They can figure it out.
Yeah, they're really smart, and most of the time they are just really attached to their owners, which is fun. So
yeah.
Okay, so you signed up for running with the cows. How did that experience go? That's kind of a intimidating race, I think, because of just where it is, and you're out there not by yourself, but you're just kind of in nature, I guess.
Yeah.
Excuse me. How did that race go?
I beat myself up for a while because I was like, okay, I want to finish in 2.5 hours, and I finished in 2:32.
Okay.
So whatever reason, being this is the first one, I just kind of beat myself up. But then I did the half marathon at the Kansas City Marathon in the fall, and I did a much better time. And so it was like, okay, maybe I can do it. Maybe I can do some half marathons.
Yeah.
I think I had to get the mental part of it.
Okay.
It was a lot more, mentally. I was like, okay, I've got the physical, so I had to work on the mental part, and for a while that was the distance that I loved.
Yeah. So you ran Running with the Cows, Kansas City Half Marathon, and you ran some more half marathons then?
I have like 60 something of them now.
Okay.
So
do you have a favorite half marathon that you've run?
I think maybe it's Running with the Cows because it was my first.
Mm-hmm.
If COVID would not have happened in 2020, I had it worked out, it would have been my 50th.
Okay.
So that was the one thing when everything got shut down with COVID. That was the one that hurt.
Yeah. Are you going to do Running with the Cows this year?
Yes.
I'm excited.
Hopefully Mother Nature won't try to kill us this year.
Yeah, that was really hot. I was kind of sad that they weren't going to do it, and all of a sudden now it's back.
Yeah.
So.
One of my coworkers, she goes to the church there.
Oh yeah.
So I was able to kind of get information out of her before.
Yeah.
She kind of gave me a heads up. Hey, they're thinking about it. It's like, yes.
They should. I mean, it's.
Yeah. And this year, we get the buffet back.
Oh yeah. So I know you're not doing the Heartland 39.3. Are you doing? What else is part of that? Rock the Parkway?
No, I'm actually volunteering at that one.
Okay.
Since that's in between my two ultras.
So have you volunteered at a lot of races?
Not a lot. I'm trying to do more. So
I think I've only volunteered a couple times. I volunteered at the one in Ottawa. Sydney and I did at Garnett at the train depot, which was like, if you're going to volunteer for that race, volunteer at Garnett because it's really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of the time I'm out there running, so it's hard to volunteer. Or if I'm not running, it's because I'm like busy with other stuff.
Well, a lot of times at the races on Saturday, I'm at work on Friday, so I can't volunteer for like packet pickup or something.
Yeah.
So that's where it gets hard.
Yeah. Okay. So you ran all these half marathons. How did you get to? I guess I'm assuming you've run a marathon. I guess I don't even know that for sure, but
I've ran 3.
Okay. So how did you get from the half marathon? Like, what made you decide now it's time to run a marathon?
It's that voice in the head.
Yeah.
It came up, and I was running. I ran a half marathon for St. Jude, and then they had posted about Chicago, having opportunities for Chicago, and I was trying to ignore the voice, and then my best friend was in town and we were out that day, and I just kept seeing Chicago stuff all over the place. So I was like, okay, that must just be the sign from the universe. Let's do this. So signed up, trained, cussed a lot during the heat of the summer.
Yeah.
And went and ran Chicago.
Yeah. That's cool. So how was that experience? Was it overwhelming? Because it looks overwhelming to me.
It was great because there's so many people.
Yeah.
So you didn't even realize, you see hey, I got another mile done.
Yeah.
There's just so many people cheering you on, and it was just like amazing.
I've never done a race like that where it's completely full. Even the Kansas City Marathon, there's times where there's spaces. I mean, I feel like in the marathon, I'm kind of like hating myself for signing up. So then I wonder what it would be like if people were there all the time.
It took my mind off of it.
Yeah.
It's the only one that I ran Chicago, LA, and Marine Corps. Marine Corps, Mother Nature tested us there because she opened the skies and just poured water. So there were parts where there weren't people because they were trying to find shelter, but instead of cheering us on. And then she decided the sun was going to come out and it was going to be 85 degrees. So she was really great that day.
Well, I've said this on these videos all the time, but the runs you remember are when it goes wrong pretty much. Like if you do have bad weather, if you have rain, if you have, I don't know, whatever happens, you're going to remember the bad things. I mean, if it goes, I guess if you ran a sub 3-hour marathon or something, you'd remember that too. But most of the times I remember things that like happened that were bad.
A little weird, like, I should have done this different. Maybe I'll go back and run it again. And I go, Marine Corps does have a 50K. That's on my bucket list because I do want to try. It would be weird doing it on the street with all that, with there's tons of people out there cheering you on. But then I also think, okay, well, the aid stations won't have what I'm used to.
Yeah, it's a different vibe.
But I want to do at least once to do, okay, it's a totally different kind of 50K.
So, you ran the marathons. Like, now, how did you get to the 50K? Like, that's like when I first started running, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, I knew about marathons, but I didn't know that people ran further than that. So,
I didn't know anything until, like I said, I was in Marine Corps and they had the 50K. And so after that, was when I first heard of a 50K. And so I started kind of researching, and I was like, oh, okay, well, it's not normal to be on the street. That's probably why I haven't heard of it. And it was on the trails and stuff, and I just thought, well, at that time you're going, it's just 5 more miles. That's what I told everybody. I was like, it's just 5 more miles. It's no biggie.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I'm going to try it at least once. Of course, and running the first one, I retired like 3 or 4 times during the middle of it, going, I'm never going to do this again.
Yeah.
And then I got back to when I finished, there were other people, and there was someone else saying they had done that. They're like, yeah, you'll be wanting to do it again. Then when I saw the pictures and stuff, that made me remember, and I was like, oh, and then I started looking again.
Yeah.
It's that amnesia.
Yeah. Okay, so your first 50K, what 50K did you run the first time?
Rails to Trails.
And that's the one that starts in Ottawa?
Yes.
Okay. What made you choose that one?
I think it was the first one I could find that was close. I didn't have to travel for it.
Yeah.
So.
And how many 50Ks have you done?
I have done 3.
Yeah.
I think, and I have 2 more this spring.
Have they all been in Ottawa, or have you done them in other?
Just 2 in Ottawa and the one in Osawatomie.
So did you do Mile Zero or the Ultrapalooza? I mean,
Ultrapalooza. I did the 20 mile at Mile Zero last year.
It's the same idea, but it's
Yeah.
So you've run 3 50Ks. What made you go to the 50 mile?
Tell you again, it's that voice.
Yeah.
She's messed up in my head. She
Yeah.
keeps going, you can do it.
So how many 50 miles you run?
I've only done one so far.
And you did it at Ottawa, right?
In Ottawa, yeah. I did it at Rails to Trails last fall.
Pretty sure I know I was there. So how did the 50 mile go?
It actually went pretty good.
Yeah.
At that point, it was, instead of it just being 5 more miles, it was just 19 more.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
That was a big difference, but,
Did you walk a lot of that?
the last part, yes.
Yeah. Did you, how did you feel during it? I mean, did you feel like you did pretty good on your food and?
Oh, yeah, because, they have got, great aid stations. Mm-hmm. They're always trying to shove food down you. Okay, what
Yeah.
can you get you? What do you need? Do you
Yeah.
want this? So, I want the peanut butter and jelly.
Okay.
That's usually the main thing that I usually grab and eat. That, some chips, pretzels.
Yeah. So did you run that by yourself, or did you have a pacer, or how did you do that?
I ran it by myself. There was one stretch, one of my friends who's done other races out there
Yeah.
had told me about, and the first part of it was like, okay, I'm getting to the turnaround point. So I made it through that, it just felt like you weren't going anywhere.
Right before Garnett.
Uh-huh.
Like you get to that, I know what you're talking about, because you get to the park and it's like, oh, I made it to Garnett, and
Yeah.
then you got to run
Then you're going, wait.
it's a long ways to the depot because,
Yeah.
and it seems like it's kind of cool because you do get to see a different surroundings.
There were people out, those apartments and stuff, and
Yeah.
they were this one random person just out there clapping for you. So it was like, okay, or they're thinking this person's about to die or something.
Yeah, but it's a stretch that is very difficult just because it is so far and it really tricks your mind in that.
It was the going back was where it was the hardest. That was the hardest stretch because it was like, okay, am I ever going to get to the next station?
Yeah,
and it
and
just
it's-
felt like it took forever.
It's much further too between there and like Richmond and Princeton and
Yeah.
Ottawa and Princeton. It's bad. So how did you feel afterwards? Were you able to walk on Monday or?
I was actually able to walk. I went and walked a 5K the next day.
Okay.
I had a little pain in a knee, but that's what KT tape is for.
Yeah. Were you able to shower and stuff? Did you have any
I don't think I had too bad of chafing.
Yeah.
For me, the hardest part was getting out of the sports bra. 50 miles of sweat.
Yeah.
So I said, next time, I'm just bringing scissors and gonna have someone cut it off me. I'm not even gonna bother with it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I've had I don't have a sports bra, but I
Yeah.
have shirts that are kind of the same, where they're really tight and they're hard to
Yeah, it was a struggle. That was the hardest part, struggling out of that. And I was like, nope, next time, I'm just bringing scissors.
Yeah, especially when you sweat like that. I've got out done with races. I had dried sweat around my eyes and stuff, and I'm like, that is so weird. So
Yeah.
you wear something for that long, it's just gonna. So did you wear different shoes?
Yeah, at the turnaround to go start heading back to the finish line, I I put on a different shirt. I put on different shoes, and just it was like, okay, because I was kind of like, yeah, I probably want different shoes. Do 25 one way
Yeah.
and 25 the next.
I think it's good too because there's times in that trail you get rocks in your shoes and you
Oh.
can't get them out. I don't understand that, and it does feel good, even if if you wore the same Brooks, it feels good to have different shoes.
Just a different. It's just like that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got a rock in my shoe last spring. Kept trying to get it out, and I had this horribly huge blister then.
Yeah, and there are places to sit, I guess, to do that.
There's a few places,
But
yeah.
in some ways, you don't want to sit a lot either because that's the start of problems. So
Yeah.
Okay, so you have this spring. It might be by the time this comes out, you'll have run the
Prairie Spirit.
yeah, I can't remember I never can remember what they're called. I just
Yeah.
call them the Ottawa 50Ks. But so that one might have already happened by the time this comes out.
Yeah, because that's next weekend.
Yeah, good Lord. And then the Mile Zero 50K, you're doing that, and I'm doing that one too. So I'll probably see you out there.
Yeah.
And then, what are you doing after that? I know, I already know. So, because we're doing the same thing.
I have a lot of, I'll sign up for a lot of spring 5Ks, 10Ks.
Yeah, like distances that most people would be like,
Yeah.
this is great. And
Yeah.
it's just like a
This is
training
just a
run,
warm-up.
or it's just a Tuesday.
Yeah. And then September, I'm doing the 50 mile at Ultrapalooza, which is working my way up to the 100K at the end of October at Rails to Trails.
Yeah, so we're both running that. I tried to run the 100-mile last fall and didn't make it, so I'm kind of running this as, I don't know, revenge, I guess, for myself, because I could have run the 100K this fall. I know for sure the 100 miles like too much. Like I knew I probably couldn't make it in time, so I was worried. I mean, even if I have to walk, we'll have till noon.
Yeah.
So we might run it together. We kind of talked about it a little bit. I don't know if you think I'm too slow or after what happened last time, it makes me nervous to like try to make plans with anyone, like even to ask them to pace me or anything. So what made you run the 100K? It's probably the same voice that.
It's like, I did 50. May as well go to the next distance.
Yeah.
So we'll give it a shot and we'll see. And I keep trying to, squash the, after you do that, you can do the 100. And I'm just like, no, I just don't know about that running at night and stuff.
That's kind of my plan. Well, when you were in the 50 mile, did you end up at night at all?
I was about an hour into the night.
Yeah, I was stupid and thought I would be done during the day and didn't bring any kind of light.
I had left my light in my drop bag because I was like, oh, I should be okay. And
Mine was in my car. And so I ran from, I don't know, somewhere past Princeton to Ottawa, complete dark.
I was just most worried about where you had to cross, where you cross the interstate part.
Yeah.
That was where I was the most worried about.
Were you by yourself then?
Yeah.
Oh,
so I was most worried about no one's, even though there's lights out there on the street and stuff, but just someone not paying attention.
And I'll tell you, I've probably said this in every video I've ever made about that. When you see that gas station when you come around the corner, like that's right by the interstate, that's like.
You're like, yes.
You still got a ways to go after that. But I mean.
I think it's like our Boston. People say there's a sign in Boston, you're getting close to the finish, so that's ours.
But I in some ways, those races, that feeling you get when you see that is like.
You're like, I'm almost done.
Yeah, that is like worth that and crossing the finish line and actually getting to stop. But that's such a good feeling.
Oh yeah.
So have you looked at? I haven't looked at I haven't even picked a training plan for the 100K. Have you looked into that or thought about what you're going to do?
I printed out a few this week. They're actually still sitting on my desk because I
might do that today too.
So I have like 3 to pick. I have to pick through, and I may just make a combination of them and see which works the best. And
okay, yeah, and I mean, you've trained it like for these during the summer. It's going to suck.
Oh yeah.
Because.
Lots of cussing.
Yeah, like when you trained, you were on in the mornings or at night? Or?
During the week, because usually I'll do my shorter runs then, I will train at night. And then my longer runs I'll get up and do on the weekends, early in the morning. I
try to do almost all my runs before work, like in the morning, so I'll like go out at like 6. I like to be done, and in the summer, it's already pretty hot at 6, so that's not even in the dark. And I've run a lot, starting at like 10:30 or 11:30 on Fridays and Saturdays, just because the only time I had time to run my long runs. So that's been interesting, and I think some of this 100K is going to be not late, hopefully, but I would think like Sydney's got done at like 1 or something. So it's going to be later, but it's hopefully not going to be like when you're running that pacing at 3 to 6. That's I've never run that late. I've run till about 2 a.m. is about the latest I've ever run towards or run during. But
I don't think I've ran. right now, 12 hours has been my longest, and that was the 50 miles. So
Yeah.
so I'll be getting past.
Have you ever done any trail runs before?
I've done a few, but I'm a really big klutz.
Yeah.
So I always wind up walking those because I'm worried about tripping and injuring myself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I didn't know if you were ever interested in doing like a longer race on the trail.
probably not. I did the Snake 10-mile last summer.
Yeah.
That was the longest trail I've done.
That was fun.
Luckily I got hooked up with some people, or I probably would have been lost.
Yeah. Yeah, you should try to do it like the Nighthawk where it's in the middle of the night.
Yeah, no.
That's really scary.
I'm like that. I'm already a klutz enough.
Yeah. I've fallen enough that I'm super, super careful now. So I haven't fallen for a while.
Yeah.
And I
Knocking on wood.
I mean, I don't know. I like trail races, but it's just, I feel like I'm more like a road runner because I like to run and not really have to concentrate that much. I like to be able to think about other things.
Yeah.
So
I think that's why I like the ones in Ottawa and stuff because it's pretty well flat.
you can't get lost.
You can't get lost. I mean, you probably could, but it would be really hard.
Yeah.
But you can just kind of take in nature, and
Yeah.
I usually, I just kind of try to focus on my music to help get through stuff.
So let's talk about music because I know that we talk about music all the time. So what kind of music do you listen to when you're out running? I don't know if it's the same as you listen to like normally or.
It's a big mix. It's my 80s hair bands, pop, rock, some dance. So
Yeah.
it kind of depends what I have. I don't even know how long my playlist is, but I just hit shuffle and we go.
Mine's pretty long.
Mine's pretty long. I'm sitting there thinking, before October, I'll have to make sure it's a good 15, 16 hours worth of music.
You might have to get another set of headphones.
Yeah.
I have like 2 things of shocks in case like one dies because I run so much with music that I would.
Yeah, they didn't charge all the way at the 50 mile, and they made it 25 miles, but when I got there, they literally died as soon as I got to the turnaround.
Yeah.
I walked in, it was like, okay, well, they're dead. Okay.
That's no good.
But luckily, there wasn't anyone around me, so I could just have it on my phone.
Do you have any songs that if you didn't have headphones on, you'd be embarrassed that people around you heard?
No, not really. I mean,
Like right now, hopefully you can't hear it. But,
okay, yeah, I would not have Celine Dion on. If I have Celine Dion on my playlist, that's a cry for help.
So I have a lot of Britney Spears that probably.
I have Britney Spears on mine.
Yeah, but I'm, it's different, I think. So I have like songs like that where I'm definitely glad that people can't hear. So.
We're not going to see you dancing to it on the trail?
So I was just telling Sydney this the other day. I was at Heritage Park, and there was no one there. It was Monday or something. It was really cold. I don't remember what song it was. It was like Shaggy, I think, some Shaggy song. And I was like dancing. Like I would never dance in front of people like this, like ever, because I knew no one was around. So I'm like, because it was cold too, so I was trying to come to warm up.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to start my watch. And as soon as I started, there was a plane that went over me, and it was like so low, and it was straight. Like I was here, and the plane was straight here, so it definitely saw. They were probably cracking up there.
They're probably like, get lower. Let's see what they're doing.
And I felt so dumb because I mean, like even if I was like actually dancing like at a wedding or something, it would be like barely. I just would barely dance. This was like full on. Oh, it was embarrassing and. So how about that? What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you when you've been running?
Sure. I mean, I don't know, not less. Maybe if I went to the restroom and like my sparkle skirt got stuck in my shorts or something, maybe.
Yeah, I think the bathroom is a lot of it. Like, there's been times where I get that nosed around and I went to was on the trail, and then like right after, girls cross country team came around the corner. So stuff like that has happened a lot. Dancing.
I'm sure people see me singing, but lip syncing.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they're going, are they talking to themselves? No, I'm just singing. But you don't want to hear me actually sing.
Yeah, and I also, since I do the videos, it's sometimes embarrassing because I feel like I'm dying out there, and people are like, "Hey, Clint," I'm like, "You don't need to know who I don't know who you are, but you don't need to don't judge me because I'm so slow."
That's always when we have our names on our bibs.
Yeah.
And someone says your name and you're like, how do you know my name? Oh, it's on my bib. Okay.
I like that. But I like those kind of bibs, but I don't.
But then you're like, wait, how do you know my name?
Yeah, like the KC Marathon, don't they put your name on there?
I think so. I know we've had a few at like KC Running Company. Sometimes we've had.
I do like it when it says like what you're doing. So if you're doing like the half marathon there, then you feel like not superior, but you feel like, hey, that guy's running faster just because he's running the 10K. So you can like mentally talk to yourself. Yeah,
like one year when I was doing the KC half, feeling all good. Next thing you know, the finisher of the marathon goes flying past you, and you're like, okay, well, that just killed that. I thought I was having a good time. Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about your favorite 10K. What's your favorite race that you've ever done?
I mean, there's so many that are, that are special. Because I love the Plaza 10K every year. Mm-hmm. I like running with the cows. Like Chicago has a special place. So I think there are more that just have like special places. Yeah. There's not any like, oh, this is my favorite. And
how about this? Do you have a race that you would run that you're for sure going to sign up for every year as soon as it comes out?
Plaza 10K.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have said that. Plaza 10K is a special race, mostly because it's in the plaza. It's only a 10K, and you can usually go pretty fast on it. I mean, there's hills on it,
there's
but
hills, but it's not.
Yeah.
Brad hasn't gone out and found all the hills for us.
Yeah.
He tries to, made it fast for us.
He will. So, when you go, excuse me, I've only asked this question a couple times so far, so I think I asked it a couple times last, but who do you hope when you go to the race, who do you hope you're going to see there? Do you have like a person that you hope is going to be at the race?
And there's not one person in particular, I like seeing Sydney, and so there's like, I'm more of an introvert, so I'm not that person that's going to run up and talk to you, and it's just that's just me, and it's not that I'm trying to be rude or anything. I keep trying to push myself out there and try to go up and talk to people, but I struggle like going up and saying hi. But there are people that I do see, and say hi to and stuff.
Well, I mean, I know Katie and Sydney really well, and sometimes I won't even say hi to them. So I'm that introverted. But when we run, I've run with them a lot, so we have talked then. So they probably would. They only know that I'm introverted because I won't talk to other people really. But I know what you mean. Like I feel like I get there and everyone's already talking. So like
I don't want to go in and feel like I'm like hey.
Yeah. So it's. And
so sometimes I'll just go on and put like one headphone in and start focusing on my music and trying to like prepare for the race.
Or I'll just like go over there and like make sure my shoes are tied well and stuff like that.
Stretch and stuff.
So, like when you choose a race now, do you have something that you're looking for? Do you look at the medals, or I'm not sure if you're a medal person or if you.
I mean, I have all my medals hanging, and but I don't look at that. I mean, sometimes it's where it is. If it's like KC Running Company, I'm like I know this is a good race, and sometimes like especially as we get into summer, it's like can I fit this into my training schedule?
Yeah.
Or can I go run before it and then go somewhere else and just have a change of scenery for running it?
That's the nice thing that's the good thing when you're running a training plan and all of a sudden a half marathon comes up and you're supposed to run 12 miles that day or something. So that's.
I think I started looking at some of the training plans going, I've ran the Rock Island. That's the one in July. I've ran it twice. I haven't had good luck on it, but I'm looking at it now going, well, will it fit in the training plan so I can just run somewhere else?
Yeah. It makes it, I don't know, a race makes that 13 miles by yourself is way different than in a race. Even though sometimes I feel like in the race I struggle more because I'm trying to go
faster because it doesn't matter. I'm going, no, you can go slow, but my legs are like, no, but we're in a race. Let's go. Let's try to go.
And I feel like I'm running, excuse me, a good pace, and then like all these other people, like, I feel like I'm almost at the end. So it's really weird. Let's see. Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about? How about this? What's your mantra when you get like near the end of the race and you like are say like mile 22 on a marathon, like what do you tell yourself?
Just keep going. It's like do not stop. Just keep going. One foot in the front of the other.
Yeah.
Just,
do you have anything that like motivates you? Like I'm always motivated by my drinking McDonald's afterwards.
Cold brew from Starbucks.
Yeah.
That's usually, I don't care if, even like tomorrow when it's going to be super cold,
Yeah.
I will go get a cold brew.
Okay. That's good. I mean, everyone's got to have something to get to the end, because it's a struggle sometimes just to start, and then sometimes it's a struggle to finish, especially like we were saying on the Ultrapalooza last year, where they had to go to the finish and then leave. That's really difficult. Or like when you do a 10K and it's 2 loops.
Yeah, those are I don't like those.
I don't like.
You see the finish line, you're like,
yeah. The KC Marathon's like that now. In the marathon, you see that half marathon finish, and you're just like,
and you're
like, I still have to go another 13 miles.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about? We covered your dogs, music, your running.
I can't think of anything right now.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you came. You thought that you wouldn't have anything to talk about, and I think we talked for a long time.
Yeah.
It's going to be like 40 minutes, so see, you had a lot.
See, I thought you were going to have like 10 minutes.
It's easy. Once you get talking about running, usually people can get going. So I look forward to hearing how your 50K goes. I probably won't see you out there at all, but then I'll see you at mile 0.
Yeah.
And then we'll have to talk about what if anything we're going to do for this 100K, because that's going to be difficult. I mean, last year I had pacers lined up for the 100 mile, and I just feel bad asking anyone now because of how that turned out. So maybe we can just go and
run together or something.
And get through it slow, and at least get through it. So maybe I can have my wife bring a pug to see us.
Yeah, get some pug power.
Yeah.
Chicago, mile 13, Chicago, somebody had their pug on the street, and I ran up to him going, "Can I pet your pug?"
I have had that a few times, even like on Indian Creek, where someone has a pug, and that's like the best. So, okay. Well, I'm pretty sure we both got to go to work eventually. So,
yeah.
Thank you for coming out, and thank you all for watching, and I will talk to you next time.